my father had lung cancer back in 2005. He survived, but he shrunk in size by 1/3.
His body.
Yeah, and his quality of life never recovered to this extent. So this is where my passion for longevity started.
You want to live longer and more quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so that's number one.
Two, I call it don't die stupid or don't do stupid things. Or scientifically, I call it passive longevity, right? So if you're smoking, statistically, you're going to live 10 years, less, right? And if you look at the average for your gender and population group, okay? So smoking, minus 10 years from your life. Not using seat belts, minus 2 years. Seat belts in the car.
Seat belts.
Seat belts, Yep. Minus 2 years from your life. Excessive consumption of drugs and alcohol, I don't even have the figures, but that's dangerous as well. So these are the simple things. Or don't doing super extreme sports. Like for example, I've been blessed and I had an opportunity to travel to like South Pole and North Pole because it's still pretty safe trips. But then I thought, okay, what if I want to go to Everest, like the highest mountain on Earth? So probability of death, if you try to do it, is a little bit above 6%.
Wow.
So I thought, like, as a man who wants to change 1 billion lives and father of 4 kids, I don't want to do it. So these are the simple choices. And again, they all rational in regards to smoking or your safety procedures, etc. So that's very important too. And people really underestimate that.
Don't die stupid. Don't do things so extreme that it gives you more chance of dying younger.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3.
So third is diet. So one of our limiting beliefs, and this is what has changed for us, is we underestimate the power of food. And the food, and the fact that food can be our medicine, right? So in this regard, there's so many disagreement in scientific circles around what actually extends our life today. But there is almost one agreement. Even the most skeptical ones say that if you decrease the number of calories, your caloric intake, it's almost you're guaranteed that you're gonna live like 2, 3, 4 years longer, and the quality actually gonna be better.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You'll look younger too.
Yeah, exactly. But then the question is how you do it, right? Because you don't want to. For me, it's a nightmare just to 3 days a week. 3 times a day. 7 days a week, just to control like the number of calories that you do. So what I do, I'm doing a lot of plant-based food because the caloric intensity of vegetables is so small. Even if we have like the whole table full of vegetables, you're still going to be fine. So that's one. 2, because of the current production practices for meat and fish, the industrial version of this is full of growth hormones, antibiotics, E. coli bacteria itself. So I'm just trying to avoid this. So that's important as well. And this is why you switch to vegetables as well. I also do fasting, but it's not for everyone. I do like 36 hours of fasting every week, Monday evening to Wednesday morning.
I've been starting to do that from Sunday evening to Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And I feel great.
It's amazing.
I just did this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times this year. And I'm kind of like, okay, once a month right now, just try for 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe every 2 weeks or maybe every week eventually. And I feel like I'm getting leaner. I feel like healthier, younger, all those things. So
well, I also like your choice of weekdays because I'm kind of trying. I'm killing the blue monster in the beginning, right? So I'm like the most difficult part is like do it on Monday and Tuesday, and then for the rest of the week,
enjoy.
You enjoy yourself. I also like wine, but specifically Californian one. But it's really unhealthy, specifically from the age of like 45, when your aging processes are starting to progress. So I'm sticking like probably 1 or 2 glasses of wine every week. Like on my scene day is like Friday evening or Saturday evening.
Max.
And that's it,
I just did a brain scan with Dr. Daniel Amen.
Yeah,
Do you know
of course. Yeah,
Amen Clinics?
I interviewed him for the book. Amazing guy.
I just got my results back literally last week and did 3 brain scans. Supposed to go back in 4 months. He wants me to he's giving me some supplements and some hyperbolic hyperbaric chamber. Did my first one yesterday. I'm doing another one tomorrow. I'm supposed to do 40 sessions.
With oxygen?
Yeah, it's at Next Health here. And in the chamber. And he said, I asked him, I go, we just had an interview come out with him, but I asked him, of smoking marijuana, cigarettes, or alcohol, which one is worse for the brain? And he said marijuana, based on 80,000, I think, scan results. Those that had marijuana had far worse brains than those who didn't. He said, obviously, smoking and alcohol also affected, but marijuana is the worst. And so, if we know these things, that smoking, alcohol, marijuana is bad for the brain, bad for longevity, why do we keep doing them? Why do we keep doing it?
Look, it's $1 trillion question. I can guess that I do think through evolution we didn't really have access to all these things. So our body and our mind has never been prepared to tackle the challenge of this kind of over availability of this
world,
these things.
Of the world, right? The so much stimulation, so much opportunities, challenges, adversity, pain, suffering, media. Like, it was a much simpler life 100 years ago.
Exactly.
There was still adversity, but it was like, okay, we're just hanging out with a few friends in the farm. Right?
That's it. I agree. And we've never been, well, that's why I talk about discipline and the unit and longevity, because otherwise, your body through centuries, through million years of evolution, has not really been prepared to handle all this stress and all these choices.
Wow.
That's probably the shortest way to answer that.
Okay, so
that's
diet
on the diet,
huge.
and also the final,
that was 3, right?
Yeah,
4?
Final piece on the diet is the importance of like take out the sugar drinks. So like we're drinking water today, so that's super important. We have way too much sugar that we should and we can process in terms of how our body works. The fourth is physical activity. And we have a funny view on physical activity. So, I mean, as humans, everything is like black and white. Everything is binary, extremes. So it's as a group of people just sitting and like watching football on TV. The other group of people are, okay, I need to run a marathon. But there's so many things in between. Like the easiest thing you can do is just like wear your Whoop or a Fitbit or Apple Watch and count the steps. 10,000 steps a day is enough actually to transform your metabolic state, right? To support your longevity, like a healthy state of your body. If you look at science, starting from 6.5 thousand steps or 7,000 steps is actually enough, then it's a plateau. But you usually say like 10,000 steps a day because we tend to under-deliver in terms of our target. And it's very easy, it's gamified, you can have immediate feedback, like a badges, congratulations, prizes, and that's the whole thing. I had an interview with Adrian Gore, the founder of insurance companies. They are, I don't know who's their partner in the US. In the UK, it's Vitality UK. They started from South Africa, and like the only option and tools and resources they had to make people healthy is lifestyle changes. Because of the way the country was run and how poor they were, like it was like the only thing that they did. And they work a lot with guys like Apple, with Fitbit, just to make a change in your health through giving you different stimulus to do physical activity every day in form of steps. So like if you do every week, if you complete your 7 goals, you get like a cup of coffee from Starbucks. Every 2 weeks is, I think, tickets to the cinema.
Right.
And then, but then the funny thing, you'd be amazed how many things that we can do for free cup of coffee from Starbucks.
Like, I'm gonna go do this for an hour. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing. So gamify it, and then obviously on top of that, if you can, you should add stretching. You should add like a cardio exercise, because this is the best training for your heart and vessels. And remember, it's one of the top risk for death. It's heart disease and cancer. So that's super important as well. And also heavy lifting. What I've heard, I've seen the study actually that people who are professional like heavy lifters, they have zero problem in any stage of their life, even during the old stage, zero problem with joints. and bones as well. I don't know how it works, but it's really amazing. So that's fourth. That's your health.
Everything. I mean, there are some heavy lifter bodybuilders who have destroyed their bodies.
Yeah,
So if you're an extremist with it, obviously it's going to shut your body down. But I think the science behind it is just like the resistance training, the heavy lifting is increasing bone density. It's like it's doing all these things for your body. Yeah. And muscle burns fat, so it's like helping you keep the fat off, which is helping you stay younger and all those things. So that's physical activity. Number 5.
Yeah, number 5. I call it peace of mind. And as we discussed, every time we think about health, we kind of defer to and we focus on physical health. And I do think we underestimate the importance of the mental aspect of that, because if we want to live longer, we want to live in healthy and happy state. So that's important. And that's a lot of simple things like sleeping. My rule is
huge.
8 hours in the bed, 7 hours of sleep. So that's what I...
Resting for an hour, sleeping for 7,
yeah. So that's what I do. I might fall asleep earlier, but then just I don't want to mix that. Time in the bed is not always your kind of quality sleep time. Then meditation is very important. The problem, you just mentioned how difficult and destructing this world is. So by this means, we all probably have very high level of cortisol, the stress hormone.
Yes.
And the way Mother Nature constructed our body, it's actually meant to be like a spike. So you see a bear or something dangerous in the forest, you have a spike of cortisol, the stress hormone, you run, and then if you're lucky, in 10 or 20 minutes, then you can actually relax and your cortisol level goes down. So, but we live in with extremely high cortisol level, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, and it's very dangerous. So, meditation is a really simple way to decrease your cortisol level, and it has enormous health effect. And also, in terms of the happiness, I think a sense of purpose and sharing like social realization, sense of purpose is super important. And again. As we discussed pre-show, if you think about like religious leaders or people who have a big mission in life, they tend to shine more, have more energy, and live longer. So,
a meaningful purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
a meaningful purpose. Going back, so those are the 5 out of the 10 buckets. Going back to the psychological age and social, I guess, pressures or social norms.
Yeah.
Something my father did as a child growing up is he would never celebrate my birthday. And I remember all the other kids in my class would have birthday parties, cakes, balloons, presents, all this.
Yeah.
It was like this big celebration. My birthday comes around, nothing. I got no gifts, no parties, no nothing. It was just another day. And I remember after like a few years of this, once I realized at like 5, I was like, oh, I'm not even, and then it was like 7 and 8. I was like, Dad, why don't you celebrate my birthday? What's like, do you not love me? I was like, sad.
Yeah.
And he goes, son, we celebrate you every day, but I don't want to put emphasis on your age, on how old you're getting. Because I've seen so many people focus on their age and be held back mentally and emotionally and physically by how young they are or how old they are. And so we never celebrated it. And I was like, Dad, but we can still get like a cake or something, and have like presents. But he was like, I just don't want you to be limited by your age, by focusing on time as a factor that's an importance for you that could hold you back. And I thought it was, after of like the sadness of it, I was like, this makes sense. And I grew up feeling just like, it doesn't matter how old I'm getting biologically, right? But psychologically, I'm staying young and healthy and fulfilled and fun and joyful. I'm expressing myself like a child. And therefore I feel young. And I never feel like limited because I'm like, oh, I'm 38 biologically. So it's like, I can't do this. Or it's like, no, you can still do whatever I want.
Oh yeah, that's a great story. I mean, it's obviously a little bit painful for the kid, if I can imagine. But that's a great lesson.
But it's kind of
a great habit.
It's breaking down the social norms of like how to put emphasis on our age. And how, okay, now you're a big milestone, 30, now it's 40, like, oh, you're getting over the hill. It's like saying these things words have meaning and start to psychologically affect us. Like now I'm middle-aged. Okay, so you only got half your life left?
What does it mean? Yeah.
So it's all downhill from here. It's like the words we use transform our mindset, which affects our physiology.
Exactly. You also touched on very important topic of how society and our life will change if we all gonna live much, much longer. Whether it's 150 years or 200 years as well. And then I think the biggest mindset shift that we need to do is that our life will consist of several beautiful mini lives. Okay, so
mini lives, seasons.
So, yeah. Well, that's a great metaphor or way to call it. So then, every 10 to 20 years, we will have an opportunity and a pleasure of changing career, right? Or start to do things that you always were dreaming of doing. So that. I do think it's important to recognize, and we always be on this trajectory of redefining ourselves, and I do think it's very soon now it's going to be a social norm to make a lot of changes in your life in terms of education, career, even purpose, even a dream, every 10 to 20 years. Well, that's one of the things to grow young, but also I think it's a necessity in a world where our lifespan will go beyond or well beyond 100 years.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm curious about environment and weather. How does that play into age and aging or staying young? Do people that live in extreme colds live longer? Do people live in extreme hots? Is it more mild temperature where they live longer? Do we have any research around this?
Yes. So, and this is very interesting actually. So every time we're talking about extremes, it's not really great. Yeah.
Either side.
Yeah. So if you in the middle of Africa, right, and always under the sun, it's not that great because what it does, it's actually speeds up like the aging processes in your body.
Skin and everything. Yeah.
Well, the other extreme, if you are like really up north, then
the body has to work so hard to stay warm.
So that's one. Well, the other thing is you are deprived of sun because it's like 6 months of
vitamin D.
Of polar night and 6 months of polar day. You don't have like a vitamin D, which processed naturally in your body, and also you usually have certain limitations in terms of your access to nutritional food. Food is in deficit there in terms of variety and vegetables as well. So you're really far away from kind of your organic farm or wherever you take your vegetables from. So I do think that we all, like if you think about US or Europe in this sweet spot of where we can live to maximize our longevity. I talk about this in the concept called longevity revolution. I do think, and I say there's 7 signs of longevity revolution just for communication purposes. And first sign for me is that I want you and all of us to watch out how longevity friendly our environment is becoming. So like China and India added 10% of their timberlands in the last 10 years. Or driverless cars.
They added what?
Timberlands, like forest area.
Okay.
Yeah, forest area increased, right? So that's...
Why? Is that for oxygen? Is that for nature?
Yeah, well, that's because, I mean, I think making sure the world is becoming better, right? And fighting global warming is on everyone's agenda. And like these countries, they kind of thought, okay, if we will increase the timber like a forest land, that's going to help to solve a problem. The other sign is like driverless cars. So if you are, I was about to say if you're driving driverless cars. So if you are in a driverless car, your chances to get in severe accidents or die is actually 10 times smaller.
If you're not driving the car.
So if it's driven by a computer.
Is that out there yet? I mean, there's the Tesla that I have has self-driving, but you're still...
We get in there. It's just a matter of in the next, because I want to prepare all of us, not only for changes that we just discussed for today, but like you need to stay on longevity bridge. You, in the next 5 to 10, 15 years, you need to be healthy and happy to make sure you enjoy the benefit of all these technologies which are coming.
It's not too late.
So I call it Horizon 2. So we will discuss that as well.
Yes.
But then driverless cars. So that's a natural choice. So you just decrease mortality rate by a factor of 10.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Or plant-based meat or lab-grown meat. Well, that's just another caloric restriction intervention, if you think so. I'm actually very hopeful and positive about the fact that right now we have a choice whether you go for like a usual meat or plant-based meat as well. And I'm not religious about being vegan or vegetarian. I have plenty of friends who are gonna have this habit, but obviously all these changes in the environment contributes to our ability to live longer and enjoy our life. In fact, I'm doing a lot of pro bono programs called Longevity at Work with largest corporations on earth. I don't want to use their names. And again, everything I do in longevity is me sharing the best of me, so I do it for free. But what we do, we create longevity bubbles, like a longevity enabling environment in their offices. So people use the stairs, there's healthy food in canteens and vending machines. They all have wearables, and then week by week you just compare this department with this department, this state with this state as well. They have, and right now you have so many apps for like meditation, for smoking cessation, and an annual checkup is a part of so many health plans. So you just need to have like a good focus on that.
Yeah.
So this is what we do. It's just another way for you to improve your longevity chances. To make sure you're surrounded with healthy choices, rather than you opening out your fridge and it's like alcohol and chocolate. I love all of this, but it's just not really healthy. We are not prepared to handle these choices on a regular basis by Mother Nature.
Most of us are not vitamin deficient. Most of us actually have too much. You actually want to slow down the growth.
Really?
And this is why obesity and type 2 diabetes are so intimately linked with cancer, is because both conditions are conditions where we have too much insulin in our body.